Let's wait for some prizes. Let's wait for some prizes.
Good day! Simply smashing! Welcome to the stream!
Hello, welcome to Qyjari's Curious Crafts. We're doing 3 sheets one shot today. I'm your host, Dan Palmer, and I am producing this all by myself, so I don't know if this is going to work out or not, but we're going to try. I am writing a one shot based on a homebrew that I have in my world called Ammonrath, and it is an extensive world with Dwarven territory and human territory, and all sorts of different sections of this land. And today we are going to, let me switch to the map. I'm having to do this all by myself. I don't have a producer. They are at work. It is a Inkarnate map, which I am grateful that I have the Inkarnate Pro to work on. And it is, I don't know why it's not appearing on here. I know what I have to do. I have to turn this off. This is the world of the Nhikosha Dynasty, and it is a small section of the world that I have, and this is the Dwarven territory. During 3 Sheets 1 Shot, my plan is to let you guys decide, the chat, decide where we're going to be in Amenrath, and I'll eventually have the whole world posted so you can see, but maybe it'll be in a dungeon in Tessara, which is my elven territory, or maybe it'll be in Coventh, which is the human area. And all the races and classes, they all play together in this world in certain parts. And the territory I'm building now, or terrain I'm building now on my Tuesday evening program, is called Miramore, and that's a halfling village. So the halflings and the gnomes sort of live on the east coast, and these are the dwarves that live on the northwest coast, because there's mountain dwarves, and then we're going to be working with the dwarves in the main area of Dyrebrook, which is the capital city of this area. And normally you guys would be deciding where we're going to do this and what kind of thing we're going to do, but I thought for the premiere episode of 3 Sheets 1 Shot, I would do this all, I would kind of prompt the story along with ideas that I had, and you can just, as soon as we get some viewers come in, they can decide how we want to do this. But I wanted to give us a start with this. So let me get the map off of the screen and put my document back up. As soon as I find it, document, here we are. Put that back up. You can see here I've put together a using Word, a sort of a template, a form, as you can see, and we can choose what kind of adventure this will be. Whether I have a drop-down menu right here, you can see on the screen. And I just realized that I might be fading into the background because Drake showed me how to do the green screen, but you might be able to see some green screen behind you, behind me with some crazy work. I had to block out the window, all sorts of stuff. Okay, so the first thing we're going to decide is what kind of adventure this will be. And the drop down I have, and we can add more to this later, is a basic adventure, or a dungeon crawl, or maybe a mystery with just puzzles, like the king sends a party to try to get the a certain unusually shaped box open, or maybe there's a chess match that has gone wrong and they have to figure out why. A giant human-sized chess match that's going on in a tavern or something. Or maybe a very intricate lock, or even a puzzle that was given to the king or to the queen or anybody to solve, and they're hiring this party to do that. But today I'd like to do a basic dungeon crawl, and the reason why is because I've decided to work in the Netherwerk mines in the Nhikosha Dynasty, which is really close to Dyrebrook. The Netherwerk mines in my world produces dark black rock that can be ground into powder that we would use for gunslingers, and to make any kind of explosives or incendiary devices. So we're going to do a dungeon crawl in the Netherwerk mines because Thane, I actually have my glossary of terms. I'll scroll down. There's the map, and then I have a glossary of places and people. And Thane Dury Emberstone is the Thane, the king of the Nhikosha Dynasty. His residence is in Dyrebrook, and I haven't gotten much into his backstory yet. We haven't actually adventured over there. We had one small party go over there, but they didn't have to interact with the king. And he oversees the Citadel, where he is, as you can see, and the Netherwerk mines. And he's got a foreman, and I think that I have a foreman name in here somewhere. He is Gideon. He's a supervisor, Gideon Runebuckle, and he's a supervisor. So maybe our party will have to deal with him. So I do have some names already done, but again, this interactive stream is about you guys telling me what you think the names of our NPC should be, and even some creatures or monsters or elements or whatever. That's the whole idea behind this. So the idea I had for this premiere episode is to have the adventuring party of, let's go back to the top here, a dungeon crawl with, let's say, 3 or more players. I think that's a nice, good adventuring party. Maybe 4. We can change this later if we want to. And I'm thinking that we'll just stick with level 1 to 4. You can see character levels 1 through 4. And now I've got the drop-down menu to do 5 through 8, 9 through 12, but I can change that if we decide to do an adventure for just simply level 20s or simply level 12s or whatever. So this one is going to be a newbie zone. We're going to call it a newbie zone. I am a WoW player, formerly an EverQuest player, so I understand all about that starting zone where you're killing gnolls and goblins and little things like that. The title of our story, I've come up with this title already, once again, on the premiere episode, but I hope one day you guys take over and if this works out and continue and name the story for me, or maybe we'll name it after the story's over and what would be the best story for that. So, hey Twisted, how are you? Yes, I'm writing D&D, woo! Okay, so we're going to call this Deep in the Netherwerk. I can't even spell. Mines. And I'll write a summary here, but my idea for this premiere story is to have the adventuring party figure out what on earth is happening down in the Netherwerk mines that's causing all of the miners' tools to go missing. Not just missing, but they're finding only the handles and some of the leather straps on these weapons, and that's all there's left of it. Well, this is, spoiler alert, it's going to be rust monsters. So you're joining me as a potential DM, so you're going to get all the ins and outs of this story. If you're joining me as a player, spoiler alert, you're going to find out all sorts of stuff about this story. So as a DM, we're gonna write this story. So the idea, I'll write the summary here. It's acting wonky now. Let's see. The Thane, that's a capital. He's the ruler of the Nhikosha Dynasty. Is it's a Duri Ember Stone, I think. I'll have to double check. Let's double check. Let's look at my glossary. Yes, Emberstone. I forget. I have hundreds and hundreds of player or NPCs in this world that I'm probably going to get their names mixed up. Has commissioned an adventuring party to investigate the disappearance of the miners. I'm a grammar person too. Tools down in the depths of the Netherwerk. I keep trying to leave that R out. Mines. The summary is just meant to say the basic story, the basic storyline, what we're going for, what the purpose of the adventure is, and so now we'll start with the actual story, once upon a time type of thing. Oh, you're working, Twisted. Sorry. You can listen to me drivel on about this then. I don't know if I meant to have that on caps or not. Not caps, but bold. I'll fix it later. Okay, so let's decide. Twisted, you can help me. Our adventuring party sets out from. Let's look at our map again. Let me put the map up. Actually, you know what? Let me just scroll on here because the map is on here, and it's easier for me to do that than distract. Okay, so this is our map again. It's by Inkarnate. I have the Pro edition. This one was actually made before I got Pro, so you can't go back and edit it, and I didn't feel like redrawing it. So here is Dyrebrook, down here in this area. It's sort of that's a river going through there. It's not really an island. There's a ton of bridges and some small land masses that they can cross. In fact, there's a swamp right where my cursor is that our former party had to go across. You use the same site for yours? Yeah, it's a good site for map making. I'm so glad I upgraded to the Pro edition. It's like $25 a year, and they have a ton more graphics and colors and things that you can put on your maps. You can get so detailed in these things. So the party's probably going to travel from Dyrebrook to the Netherwerk mines, or since it's just a level 1 to 4, maybe we'll just have them already be there. So that's, since it's just supposed to be a 3 sheets one shot, and by the way, 3 sheets one shot, I came up with that name while intoxicated one night, and I thought that was a funny thing, and then it kind of stuck. So 3 sheets one shot, and the idea was to make it a simple one shot, one that can be done in just a few hours with a few friends, and then be done. This is one and done. Okay, so let's start. Let's have them already be sent to the Netherwerk mine, so that I don't have to worry about building a whole backstory for Dury and in his citadel that I have not detailed at all in the glossary. So we'll have them start out talking to the supervisor at the mines, and that I think is Gideon. We'll go back to the glossary and look. And I'm going to take some advice from, I don't know if it was his original advice, so I don't want to misquote anyone, but Matt Mercer, who DMs the Critical Role, he has a thing he does with all of his NPCs, where he has a great fear and a great, I can't think of it. It's what they want and what they fear. It's their goal, I guess. And so I'm going to just briefly say that, let's look his name up again for sure. Gideon Runebuckle. That's a funny name. Let's say that fear and desire. That's exactly right. Thank you, Twisted. That Gideon Runebuckle, his desire is to one day, let's just write this down. Gideon Runebuckle. That's a good dwarf name. The supervisor. I keep trying to leave that R out. It's just called Netherwerk. Mines. Only desire, in life is to what? What should it be? You guys pick. I said you guys, I mean Twisted, since he's my only viewer right now. Oh, actually we have a couple more. Welcome. Don't be afraid, chat, because the story will be very one-sided if I do it all. What do you think, Twisted? He's the supervisor. He works hard. He has to boss around a bunch of dwarves down in the mines. He's probably pretty gritty, but he's probably got some intelligence to him since he has to do a lot of paperwork. His only desire in life is to let's just say that his only desire in life is to keep his family happy. No, I'm not sure either. Okay, so that's simple enough. So if his family's happy, if he's happy, his family's happy, then that's his desire. His greatest fear is, well, I don't want to say death, because I think that's a lot of people's greatest fear. So let's just say that it's losing his job, that he wants to do his job to 100% and he never wants to do any other job, that this is what he loves the most. So losing his job as supervisor. Is family looking down on him? Do you mean like they think he's less of a person? Or that no, I think that they're pretty happy. I think that they're happy that he makes decent wages as a supervisor, and they don't want him to lose his job either. I'll say he's 453 years old, I think I put in here. I was making stuff up a while ago. Oh yeah, maybe that's true. His greatest fear is losing his job. I'll take... Oh! Did not mean for that to happen. Why doesn't it go to the end there? Maybe I just need to take that out of it. Because his family would suffer and he would be disgraced. Okay, we'll do that. Suffer financially. Maybe they live in one of the well-to-do homes in the area. There's a small village near the Netherwerk mines. It's because it's kind of a far trek from Dyrebrook, where the miners live, and there's of course a bar, a tavern. I haven't named it yet. We can do that if that's where we're going to have our party meet. You know, they meet in a tavern. But I would say that there's bunkhouses for the single guys, and then there's little small family homes, and he has a nicer one, maybe because he's a supervisor and makes decent wages there. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. I'm going to, this was done using a program, using the, I don't remember where it is now. It's fine. I'll just keep typing like this. I feel like I'm being held hostage by this block here. So let me see if I can just tab out of it. Why is that? Oh. There we go. Okay. It's not letting me tab out, so I don't know why it's doing that. I was practicing with it earlier and it was just fine. So it might be a... It wasn't a layout. Design? No, it wasn't design. Help? No. I don't know why it's doing that. Let me, well, congratulations on 125. That's great. That's awesome. Let me look at... It was something about, it may not be, it may be, this might be an older version, because I pulled this from my PC upstairs on this laptop, and I might not have that correct version to do this form that I wanted. I'll just keep typing. Don't want to waste everyone's time. We only have an hour today. It's just a lunchtime show. So, okay, so that's his greatest fear and desire. So our, let's see, our adventuring party was sent by Thane Emberstone. That's like saying King Emberstone. That's a dwarf thing. Apparently, I looked it up. And they find themselves in the local, in the tavern. No, let's just say the name. Let's just think of a name. How about the... Well, let's see. It should be something with rock, or since it's mine. So let's go with something that's black rock. So let's think of something that, like obsidian. We do have an area in the world called Obsidian Wilds, so maybe not obsidian, but something else that has like a blackish name to it. Or the word dark, or powder. Black rock basin. That's not bad. For the tavern, you mean? How about Black Rock Basin and Brew, or Bed and Brew? Maybe there's there's an inn there too, a small inn. Black Rock Bed and Brew, something like that. We'll put that as a maybe. The inn and tavern. By the way, can you see the typing on the screen? Is it too small? Should I make it larger? Black Rock Brew's not bad. If we decide that it's not an inn, we'll take the bed and part out. But can you read that, Twisted? It's a bit small. Okay, so let's Here's the problem I was having. I don't know if I can make this part any larger. Oh, I can make it smaller, so that means I can make it larger. How's that? Is that better? Can you read that? I'll leave it at 14. I'm trying to use an easy to read font. Okay, much better. Good. All right. They find themselves in the Blackrock Bed and Brew, the inn and tavern, in the small mining village near the entrance to the Netherwerk mines. And of course, we're only going to write part of it because the players need to fill in discussion and that type of thing. So we're not writing their story for them. We're just giving them advice along the way and sort of a direction to follow. They know what they have to do. They have to figure out why the weapons are going missing, or at least the metal part of the weapons. And then they need to go investigate and solve the problem, and then return back and maybe get a reward. So we'll leave that part up to the DM to decide how they want to interact at this inn. If we want to throw in an NPC innkeeper / barman, we can do that. So let's see. It's not letting me it's not letting me enter to go to a new paragraph, and it's driving me crazy. Let me take 1 minute just to look one more time why this is not doing that. I might need to tell it to turn the sourcing off or something. I don't know. It's like it's not. All right, tell me what you want to do. I want to I can't remember what I did. It was a template. Did I say this is a template? No, it's a docx. Okay. It was a it was upstairs. I can't do it. I'll just keep typing. Definitely something I'll fix for a future time. Oh, unless I open it in a, you know what I can do is open it in a new document, and we will write it this way, and then I'll just cut and paste it over there and get my narrow margins. Let me go back to switch windows. There, I will cut and paste at least this part here, or copy and paste. My husband always yells at me, it's not cut and paste if you're not cutting it. And all right, there we go. Let's deep. Netherwerk mines. All right, I'm all about the formatting, so we're going to format a little bit. Okay, our adventuring party was sent by Thane Emberstone, and they find themselves in the Blackrock Bed and Brew for now, the inn and tavern in the small mining village near the entrance to the Netherwerk mines. Oh, that didn't keep the formatting. The barkeep, I need a name. This is where you guys come in. Come on, Twisted, think of a name. What's the name of our barkeep? Some good dwarvish name. Oh, how about a female? How about we do Moira? Oh, Sebastian's good. All right, he's a man now. Sebastian Murphy. Perfect. Sebastian Murphy. He's a what? Welcome to the stream. How do you say your name? Let's say it's I'm not gonna even try to butcher your name, so I'll call you Hero. Thanks, Hero. Murfett? Okay, Murfett. Or did you want it with a? Did you mean with an EY? Let me know. A stout dwarf, of course, with a what kind of head? Balding? Think of eyes, eye color. Are they piercing? Also, we need to know his fear and desire. Oh, I see. Murfett. I get it. Okay. All right, we'll go with Sebastian Murphy. That's his whole name. And a stout dwarf with a... We'll say balding unless you guys come up with something better. And a long, deep red beard. Tangled. Deep red. I'll just take deep out. Whoop. Well, let's not take all of it out. A red, tangled beard. He's not a very well-kept dwarf, we'll say. His eyes are a piercing black. And his... We have to describe him better. His nose... Oh, I know. Looks like it has seen a fight or two. He's a barkeep, so there's tavern brawls, right? Let's do this in a paragraph style, because that's what I would have done on the other page. Let's do a tab here. Okay. His fear and desire for Sebastian. Oh, let's just do this first. Let's put his name here. Sebastian's. All right, fear and desire. His fear is... Let's do desire first, because I have an idea for desire. His desire is to one day wed a... Yeah, that's true. Getting hit in that 4-4 nose again. That's a good one, too. Okay, we'll do that one. We'll do that one. Desire is to one day wed a local farmer's daughter. We need her name, so come up with her name while I show you on the map where the district is. I'll have to pull it up over here because I'm on a different document now. So let's hide that. There's the map, and you can see very north of the Netherwerk mines is the farming district. So all that area that's not the mountainous area, but along that path and down that path southward is farming. So maybe she's on a small farm not far from the Netherwerk mines. So maybe that's his desire, but maybe she doesn't want to wed a barkeep. So, or maybe she doesn't know that he loves her. So let's go back to our story. All right, desire is to one day wed a local farmer's daughter, and we'll plug her name in there. Fear is another tavern brawl. He would do anything to avoid a fight. How about that? Then the DM can play on that. Okay, so that's... I'm gonna go back to Gideon here and change his fear and desire stats so that we know. Yeah, okay. All right, our adventuring party. I do this a lot. Sorry. I'll get it straight. Alright, our adventuring party was sent by Thane Emberstone, and they find themselves in the Blackrock Bed and Brew, the inn and tavern, in the small mining village near the entrance to the Netherwerk mines. This part has to go above that one, because we haven't yet met Gideon. A lot of rearranging here. Okay. They haven't met Gideon yet, so we'll leave that down. When they finally do meet him, then we can do a description of him. All right, so that's where our party meets. As we talked about earlier in the stream, that it's a adventuring dungeon crawl, and it's for 3+ players, levels 1 to 4. So it's a newbie zone. And we already talked about the Thane Dury Emberstone has sent them to figure out what has happened to their weapons, the miners' weapons in this deep dark. It's a mine, but we're calling it a dungeon crawl. And as a DM, you know that it's going to be rust monsters that they have to deal with, and that's why there's only leather straps left on their weapons. That's why there's only the wooden hilts, and but the picks and every other metal thing is gone, and it's because they're rust monsters. So we know the ending. We already know the ending of the story, but we got to get there. So they've met now in the inn, where every D&D party meets, and we know our barkeep's fear and desire, and we've described him. Red tangled beard, his eyes are piercing. Okay, let's in a fighter too. Okay. If asked, since they know that they're there to do a job, the information that Sebastian has may give to the party is based on the questions they ask, and we can't know what that's going to be, so that's something the DM has to do. But we can also put down the information for the DM to decide how hard or easy it would be for the players to come up with that, or to glean that information from the barkeep. So we're going to say that that he was a former, maybe he was a soldier in the Obsidian Wilds. I talked about in my land, the Ammonrath, it's what it's called in my realm. There's an area to the north called the Obsidian Wilds, and there was a battle years ago against the orcs, and maybe he fought in it. He retired from that, and he is back in his homeland, and just decided to run a bar. He forgot about tavern brawls, but he was hoping he could avoid them. So information that Sebastian may give to the party might include, and again, I'll do dots here. My paragraphs can go on and on, so I didn't want to bore people with that. That he was a former soldier in the military, and he fought, let's make that a new, in the battle for the Obsidian Wilds, and that has he heard of rust monsters before? Probably, if he's a battle-hardened soldier. So I would say he's heard of a creature that that devours anything made of metal. Oh, I want to tell you also, because I have an amazing husband, I have the legendary bundle for D&D Beyond. If you're a DM, this is invaluable. And so I quickly have it posted here for you to see on my other screen. It is, I pulled it up to Rust Monster, and you can see all the stats there, and you can see all the things that they do, all their different stats. Well, obviously their stats when you fight them, but then all the little things and how they live, and this is how you can build your story. So I kind of read through this a little bit, and that's how I understood this particular creature and what would happen in the Netherwerk mines and what conflict would be down there. I mean, maybe the miners could handle an invasion of goblins or any other kind of small creature that would burrow through, but I wanted to find something that would not just do damage to them, but do damage to their livelihood, which is getting rid of their pickaxes and things like that. So, okay, some with the drink in there. Oh, great. Okay, great. How fun. I'm self-producing this, so I'm having to look over at chat too. So I'm sorry. I don't want to get distracted and miss anything you guys say. So just say it all over again if you have to. All right, so let's go back to our story. And that's this one. All right. There we go. Okay, so he's heard of a creature that devours. Oh, you know what we should do? We should, just to help out the DM, especially for a newbie area. Let's decide here how much of an insight roll, what their DC should be. And a DC for noobs, and I don't want to talk down to anyone who already knows this, so I'm sorry if I do, is a difficulty challenge. And I would say that this would be a difficulty to know that he was to get that information from him, or to ask a question where he would answer. He's kind of proud of his military service, so he's going to be pretty quick in answering that question. So I would only give that a 5. That means I have to roll a 5 on a DC 5. And what kind of let's see, that would be persuasion to get him to talk, I think. I'm going to use just the word persuasion. A DC 5, and that would just to get him to talk about whatever. And this would be both the information about him being a soldier and about the fact that he fought in the battle for the Obsidian Wilds. Maybe he has a scar on his face, and one of the adventuring party asks how he got that scar. And why don't we just do that? And his, let's see, he has try to use, I need to pull up a thesaurus and use that as well. He has a ragged scar down one side of his face. Okay, so it didn't take anyone much persuasion to get him to talk about his time in the military. So I'm just going to duplicate that for, you know what, I'll just put this up here. Okay. And it doesn't need to be a bullet point. Okay, now, whether he's heard of the creature that devours anything made of metal, I would say that would be, if they happen to ask that question, I would say that he does know that answer, and it wouldn't take any kind of persuasion to talk him into that. If he's already opening up about himself, I would say that his personality would allow that to say, yes, it's the rust monster. And how much information he gleans from that, or he gives them, that they glean from that, the party, maybe based on the coin they slip him. Maybe if they slip him a couple of silver, then he'd give him a little more information. Otherwise, he might just say it's a great beast that enjoys the taste of the steel, of the steel blade, of the pickaxes and other tools that they use down there. Or maybe even the chains. The chains on the lifts are gone, and they're having to replace them all the time, and it's becoming too much of an inconvenience. So let's see. So now they know about the rust monster. They might not know what it exactly looks like. Maybe Sebastian's just heard of it. Let's see. Let's go. They travel to the mine, the entrance to the mine. And they were told to meet with the supervisor, of course. Gideon. Rune Buckle. Should have come up with a shorter name. Rune Buckley. Oops. And there's his stats. Okay. I know I'm skipping around a lot. That's what I do. But when I come up with when I think of another idea to push up into another section, I'll just go back to that section and edit it. This is a work in progress. It's a draft, and this is not the final thing. We're just basically brainstorming right here. Okay. All right. Travel to the entrance of the mine and meet with the supervisor, Gideon Runebuckle, because that's what they have to do. They know that they have to get to the mine. He tells them what he knows about the missing metal, and I'll go ahead and put here that chains on the lifts that bring the carts to the top, maybe the cart axles. Axles, EOS or LES? I don't remember. Okay. Obviously the pickaxes. Pickaxes. What other kind of tools? This is where I need your help, guys. What other kind of tools would they use for mining? The chains on the lifts, the axles on the wheels to the mine carts. Oh, any kind of tracks, mine tracks. Maybe parts of those are missing. Welcome back, Twisted. You see, we've rearranged our story a little bit. He would be, let's see, mine cart tracks. And, oh, I know. How about torch? Those, where they would put torches for lights in the walls, on the mine shaft walls. And the ones that are not made of wood, sconces. Yeah, sconces. Yeah. Anything made of metal. He says. The miners have found tracks, maybe, near the remains of the tools and carts destroyed. Like, we talked about leather straps. What else would be left? The wooden handles. And cloth pieces, we'll say. Like bags. Maybe there was some metal rivets in a bag, and there was cloth left over. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. We'll come back to that. Okay, so those were left. So that gives them a clue that maybe it is rust monsters after all. So they are going to... and again, the information they get out of Gideon, maybe they want to ask him if he has any kind of tool that can help. Or anything that he can give them to help their adventure. Let's say that he has a healing potion. He just has one in his pocket. And those are, again, let's switch to here. Let's look for healing potion. It's a potion of healing. I always forget that wrong. Okay. It's a potion of healing. It's just a common. It's a 2d4 plus 2. Let's go back to our story. I always put the stats in there, especially because I don't always remember. As you saw, I had to check it myself. Let's see, he's maybe sitting at a desk, so maybe he would part with it on a high persuasion. If they know if they know he has it, maybe they don't ask, and he's not going to offer it because that's 50 gold. He might part with it with a high persuasion. Let me capitalize that because I've been capitalizing especially for new DMs. DC of, what do you think, 15? Yeah, scabbards. That's a good one too. I'll add that one up to the top. Thank you. Because those would be made out of a leather or a really heavy cloth. 15. All right. Yep, that's a good DC. All right. You might part with it with a high persuasion if they can really say, look, we need this, and then the DM has them roll a high persuasion, or an offer of money. I'll say gold. A potion of healing is typically 50 gold. You can sometimes find them for 35 in my world. I should say this is in Ammonrath. I know that every DM has their own way of pricing potions and other magical items. In mine, it's typically 50. They can sometimes be talked down to 35. If this adventuring party is a level 1 to 4, they may not have that much gold on them. Again, depending on how the DM plays it. So we'll say that he'll sell it for how much gold do you think? My 50, or maybe he doesn't mind. He has another one at home. He doesn't care, or he knows where he can get another one. What do you think? How about we say 50 gold? I was gonna say, or yeah, it could be bargain. You think 75? That's actually not a bad idea, because they are far away from the main city of Direbrook, and maybe it takes a while to get a new shipment of healing potions of healing in. So we'll say 75 gold, or can be. Oh, that's not a bad idea either. Perhaps 10 gold with a 10 DC. Perception. Is that to see if they know he has it? Maybe I should put that in there too. Can be talked down with a high persuasion again. We'll make that another DC. Oh, we'll say 17. So that's pretty high. I don't know if our new adventurers, our newbies, are going to have that kind of a persuasion, but we'll see. Talk down, I'll say 2 to 50. Maybe they're not as common. I always use just G. I don't usually write the word out, so I'm going to change that. Oop, not H. Yeah, no, I knew that you meant persuasion hero. Thank you. I knew that's what you meant. But it's a good call. Talking about perception, maybe someone with a high perception can tell that when he opens a drawer, perhaps to check to see his paperwork, they heard a rattling around like a glass vial. That's kind of maybe for a higher player, a higher level player. So we'll just let the DM decide that. Talk down to 50 with a high persuasion. Or maybe they've, like I said, they've done the persuasion, a pity party. Well, if he's not going to part with it with a high persuasion, we should make that persuasion higher. He'd have to really be talked down to just give it away. He'd rather sell it. So let's make that 18. Okay. We may have to go back and fudge numbers a little bit as we do this. All right, so he also offers the extra pickaxes that they have there, but let's see. Let me just write that in there. Also offers various mining tools on loan, since they're being eaten, so he needs them for his miners to replace, to help if they need. But really, they're gonna come. They better come with their own weapons. They better have their tools of their own trade if they need. Okay. Okay. If the party takes them, that's fine, but they be on loan. The DM has to keep up with that and say, all right, but I need those back when you're done. Or unless they get eaten. Ooh. Okay. But he really has nothing else that can help. I mean, if he had his own materials to go defeat whatever's down there, he'd just send his miners down there with that to go do it. That's why the king has sent, or the Thane has sent this party down there. So they enter. the mines and travel. It's a very, very deep mine. It's been mined for a long time. It's a very rich mine. There will be various tunnels and shafts and stretches of track. Well, some are gone. I would say the ones at the base are gone. Probably not the ones at the surface, because the rust monsters, they don't tend to travel in groups. It's usually just one or two. So they wouldn't be able to eat all that metal. So if especially they'd start at the bottom, at the deepest part. So they may have to travel quite a while to get to where they need to go. So the DM needs to consider rations and a light source. Although this is a mine, so I guess there would be torches and wall sconces along the way. What else? What else would they come across before they get to the rust monsters? These are level 1s, maybe. And rust monsters, let's look at their stats real quick. You can see. Their stats are, they are a DC challenge rating of half, which gives players 100 XP. I don't know how your party does. If you're a DM, I don't know how you divide XP among your party. I generally take the 100 and divide it by the number of players in the adventuring party. So, or characters, players. Characters. Adventurers in the party. So if there were 3 adventurers, they'd each get 33 XP for killing 1 rust monster. I believe... Yeah, rails. That's what I meant. Not tracks. You're right, Twisted. Sorry. I believe it takes 300 XP to get a character from level 1 to 2. 3 or 4. I'm losing it today, folks. I need a nap. So you can see that that's a pretty high challenge rating for level 1s, but a group of 3 can probably handle it. If there were 2, especially if they were fighters or barbarians or not spellcasters, then they'd eat their metal. Oh, by the way, rust monsters do not, I believe, eat. They don't consume magical. But let's look and see. Can you guys see the writing on that? I can blow this up a little bit. Okay. If the object touched is either metal or armor or a shield, it takes permanent and cumulative -1 penalty to the AC of it. Okay. And they're destroyed if it drops below. Okay, that's a non-magical weapon. Okay, so if these are level 3s going into this dungeon and they happen to have +1s, it's already 2 o'clock, guys. I'm sorry. that's an hour already gone by. But if they do have magical weapons, then the rust monster will not be able to consume them or do damage to them. So that's a good thing. But if our adventurers only have their starting weapons that aren't magical, they're going to take some damage. All right, let's go back to our story. We're almost done. I'll go 10 minutes or so over. They're going to enter the mines and travel downward. Maybe, you know what? Let's say that Gideon also has a map, but they need to ask for it. If the adventuring... He'll provide like a very rough sketch of the tunnels. All right. So they enter the mines. They travel downward, hopefully following the map. And maybe the DM's nice. He'll just say that Gideon offers the party the map or the rough sketch. So they travel downward. And they eventually come across evidence of the Could be a map. It's true. It could be. There could be a map at the yeah, find a nice big stick. Yeah. Oh, by the way, there's a nice big stick right there on the side. Hopefully they have something better than the stick, but you never know. Okay, so yeah, there could be a map like you are here at the beginning of the mine. That'd be funny. That the creatures have done. and also let's do a investigation check. And this would be relatively easy. Let's do a 8 to find where they've burrowed from. From where the creatures have burrowed. Okay, and then of course the party comes across our rust monsters, and let's decide, should they come across 1 or 2, or let the DM decide. If it's a party of very new level 1s with no magical weapons, 2 are gonna probably 3 twisted. No. You want to TKP TPK. Okay, I have a cold. Excuse me. Yeah, 3. They can handle 3. They cannot handle 3. If they're level 4, yeah, because they've already gotten their extra ability points at level 4, and they've taken a feat that helps, or they probably by then have a magical weapon. But I think 3 rust monsters at level 1 would probably eat them all for dinner, in addition to their weapons. So let's have a skittering sound. Oh, they hear. Oh, you know what? Let's do a perception check. This is where your perception comes in, hero. Thank you. Perception of a... There's no mining in this area because they've had to block it off because there's no picks, and the miners are kind of freaked out about their axes and picks going missing. So it's quiet. Otherwise, maybe they're stripping water from the sides. It's up to the DM to decide how noisy it is, whether they can hear the skittering sound. So we'll just make it a 6, unless you guys think it should be more. And just a quick tip: I know the Dungeon Master Guide and other manuals have said that the examples they've given for DCs are 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, etc. But you can pick any number in between those numbers. You don't have to stick with those every five increments. You can choose, like I've done here, a 6 or an 8 or a 12 or 18 to put in there, whatever you think that the skill should be. So the perception would be a 6. You know what? I'll put a 6 if the mines and the party are quiet, and or a DC, let's say 10, if the mines have other sounds. And I'll put where's the other bracket, like running water or nearby miners. Maybe there are some nearby miners in an area that has not been disturbed yet. Okay. The party might hear, whoops, skittering sounds and emerging, oh, I do that all the time, from a, let's say, you know what, let's say a previously made burrow, because rust monsters can sense when non-magical metal is nearby, and that doesn't have to be a weapon or an axle or a track or a sconce. It could be a belt buckle those are not usually magical. So they smell and sense this metal from distances. And so there's a rust monster in this area that has smelled whatever metal these adventuring party has on them and has come to investigate. So we're just going to have one pop out, twisted, not three. Yes, they can taste the metal in the air. Yep. We said the same thing at the same time. That's awesome, Hero. Thank you. You should come every day, every Wednesday, to help me with these stories. This is great. Okay, the party might hear skittering sounds and emerging from a previously made burrow, I'm going to capitalize that, monster appears. Now this is where, when I write these for myself, I would cut and paste the information from the D&D Beyond, but a lot of people don't have access to D&D beyond the free stuff. So and I'm not going to do that because it is right there. It is available. In this case, a rust monster is one of the ones that is available to everybody. But I would cut and paste that or copy the picture. But I would also write a description of the monster according to the picture. And if it doesn't have a picture, if it just has a blank sort of a silhouette picture, I would go online and just do a research on it and like a Google Images or something, and kind of describe that it has large antennae at the back or at the front and a large long tail with spikes at the end. You can see it. Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you for following. That's awesome. Thanks, Hero. He has armor and he makes clattering sound with his little mandibles or something. I don't know. And so we would add that to the story. And then we'll see if they are able to defeat. And what should he have as loot? This is the end. We're almost at the end. My daughter gets off the bus soon, so I have to finish up soon. I don't know if a rust monster would really have any kind of loot at all. Maybe if they take his mandibles, maybe they could, if they do a survival check or animal handling, I think that's how they do it. I know, I jumped too. I wasn't ready for that. We need an Ann scare cam, right? Like we do for my Tuesday night stream. We have a scare cam for our producer who jumps whenever she gets scared. Yeah, they could do rusted tools that he's eaten, or the mandibles. I know it can be used with a survival or animal handling. I'll make it kind of easy. 5. To remove the mandibles. I think we did this once with my newbies in a game, and our rogue kept one of the mandibles and had the local blacksmith in a nearby town. He carried it all the way, had him made it into these, or took both mandibles and had him made into these shoulder guards that have these mandibles sticking out. So he was very proud of that. He loved those. All right, to move the mandibles. Actually, I think you could look also on D&D Beyond at the bottom and see if they have. No, they don't really have thick, lumpy armor, 2 feathery antennae, but they really don't have. Yeah, they can't really. It says here they can't really get the armor or the weapons that they've eaten because they ruined them. It becomes acidic or something, and it destroys anything metal that they've touched. It corrodes it. So they ignore people that aren't carrying it, so that's okay. But anyone else carrying any kind of metal would be attacked. And sometimes it says in the description, that's why it's important to read that. If you have to go to the monster manual of the book, and it'll say that sometimes they have certain kinds of loot or certain kinds of things in their lair or home that you can loot, and that's helpful for when you're deciding what the party gets at the end. In this case, we're just going to say that the mandibles, maybe they could remove some of the armor. The chitin. Is it chitin or chitin? That's a question I don't know about. Yes, actually a leather pouch would be a good idea. In his innards? Sure. Why don't we just, why don't we give the party a bag of holding? If they dissect... Oh, it spelled it right for me. They may find a leather bag of holding. And that would be a nice prize. Okay. And that's the end of our story as far as the basic getting from one place to the next. And I'm going to, I didn't do it on here because this is I messed up at the beginning. I got to fix that. I have another, before some of you joined the channel, I had this really pretty template where I put the type and the adventurers and the title and everything. But I also had on here the map that I like I said, I made at Inkarnate. And at the very end, I always put a glossary, and this helps me as a DM remember that not just the names of places and people, but how they're pronounced and their description and where they were and are they dead or alive and how old they are. There's one here, Ransley Stonecutter. He was the Dwarven captain of the Golden Pearl, which he was alive when our adventure started, but he's no longer alive. So I had to put that he has been deceased. Also, Thryfa. She is the Bullywug queen that used to live in Mistborn March. And Mistborn March is... I'll take this off here real quick. Is right here. As they go from Dyrebrook, they had to go up this way and cross this area. It's very marshy. And they came across a village of Bullywugs. And she was the queen. And this was a level 1 adventure that they went on before. So anyway, thanks so much for joining me. Thanks for all the help. Please, in chat, if you would, write down how you would like to be credited for helping with this story, whether it's a Twitter handle or or just the name that you use on the stream, your Twitter or Twitch stream name. And if you want to join me tomorrow at lunchtime, I am actually crafting an ornament, and that'll be on the thank you screen at the end. And of course, on Tuesday nights, I have my Curious Crafts making D&D terrain, and this time I am working on the Miramore Halfling Village. So thank you so much. Bye.